What's going on, guys? Allie-RX here, and I've got some very interesting news to share with you guys, especially if you're fans of retro gaming and all that good stuff. So yesterday, Nintendo officially announced the NES Classic Edition, also known as the NES Mini, and it's essentially a re-release of the original Nintendo Entertainment System, only instead of cartridges it features 30 built-in games. You remember the Atari Flashbacks and the Sega Genesis Classics, mini consoles that were released very recently? Yeah, it's kind of like this, except this one is actually made by Nintendo and not by AtGames, which is a very good thing considering how shitty the Sega Genesis Mini, whatever it was complete and utter dog shit. It had horrible emulation. And even when you inserted cartridges, the games ran really bad. The sound was awful, it was buggy, and then it came with like a bunch of built-in games that nobody gave a shit about. It was just a piece of shit. A piece of fucking shit. Oh my god, it was bad. But thank God, Nintendo is kind of cashing in on this whole Atari Sega thing, making their own console, but I know if it's made by Nintendo, it's guaranteed to be good. So anyway, the NES Mini or NES Classic Edition will launch this November, the same month the Old Ranger DVD comes out, for a suggested retail price of $59.99 or $60. And it will have HDMI, not sure if it's only HDMI, and the controller ports on the front will be similar to the ones. It will be the exact same ones that are used on the Wii remotes. So which is very interesting, because if the original Wii and the Wii U both use Wii remotes, and they both use the same slot to use the classic controller and the nunchuck, then I'm pretty sure the NX will sort of use that controller slot as well. I'm pretty sure the NX will use Wii remotes and even use the NES classic controllers and maybe classic controllers on the original Wii for the NX. That's what I think. But yeah, it's gonna have that. It's gonna come with one classic controller, one NES controller. So if you want to play two-player, you're gonna have to buy the other one separately. And that's pretty much what it comes with. And the 30 built-in games include Balloon Fights, in alphabetical order I will say: Balloon Fight, Bubble Bobble, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, Donkey Kong Jr., Double Dragon 2 The Revenge, Dr. Mario, Excite Bike, Final Fantasy, Galaga, Ghosts and Goblins, Gradius, Ice Climber, Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure, Mario Brothers, Mega Man 2, Metroid, Ninja Gaiden, Pac-Man, Punch-Out! Without Mike Tyson, Star Tropics, Super C, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, Tecmo Bowl, The Legend of Zelda, and Zelda 2. So far, that is a pretty okay list of built-in games. Though, to be honest, I wish they had more games. I mean, think about it. I mean, the NES ROM files are so freaking tiny. We have storage mediums that could hold up the entire NES library. Like an 8GB or 16GB SD card. Fuck, even a DVD could hold up the entire NES library. A standard DVD, and maybe hell even the CD-ROM could hold up the entire NES library. Then again, I guess you can't include all NES games because of licensing issues. I mean, you can't obviously put Batman or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or games like that. So it's gonna come down to third-party games, non-licensed third-party games, and Nintendo-only games. Still, I really wish there would be so much more games than just 30 of them, because I know there's a lot more. I mean, for example, why include Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest? That game was fucking horrible. Why not Castlevania 3? 3 was far better. 1 was good, 3 was good, but 2 was garbage. And I played it myself. I got really frustrated and I immediately quit after that. And also Super C, but not the original Contra. Again, they've been doing this since the Virtual Console was launched on the original Wii. The original Wii didn't have the original Contra. The Wii U doesn't have the original Contra. Both of them only have Super C for their NES selections. Like, what the hell? Why not the original Contra? There is a laundry list of NES games that I wish could have been on this new NES Mini. I don't know, like River City Ransom, Blaster Master, Adventure Island, Bionic Commando, Life Force, Dragon Warrior, Shatterhand, Rad Racer, Metal Gear, Pro Wrestling, Tecmo World Wrestling. Hell, maybe include some Famicom and European NES games like Mr. Gimmick. That was an awesome gem right there. I would love to play Mr. Gimmick on this new thing. I love that game. I'd love to see some Sunsoft develop games. They made some really great games back in the day. Again, there's lots of great games to include. Maybe Kung Fu? Kung Fu is another good one. Maybe you could have at least included like 100 games. I mean that isn't bad. Maybe if that's too much, maybe 50. 30 is not a bad list, but I just wish they could have added more. I mean, especially since NES ROMs are so tiny. Anyway, now let's talk about the whole HDMI thing on the NES. I mean, I'm totally okay with it having HDMI. That's a very good thing. But only HDMI? I'm hoping it doesn't only have HDMI. I really hope it has composite, RF, S-video. I mean, something for like the CRT crowd. I know a lot of you retro gamers out there love to play retro consoles on CRT TVs, or hell, even PVMs or BVMs. I would love to see an RGB SCART or a component. The best way to play old school retro games is on a CRT, especially if it has RGB or components. That is just a fact. You can't deny it. There's just no denying that, and that is the best way to do it. And if it's gonna have HDMI only, please put a scan lines option. Please give us a scan lines option. The retro games, especially 8-bit games, look so much better with scan lines, because the NES games were natively 240p. I mean, NES games without scan lines, it makes it feel less authentic and then more like an emulator. Now, since this is an emulator, I'm guessing that it's going to use the same emulator used on the Wii and the Wii U Virtual Console for NES games, which to me, which is good, but it's not great. I mean, have you seen Paulie Retro's videos where he does the Virtual Console versus NES RGB comparison videos? You will see that it is night and day. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the new NES is going to have a different emulator. Is it going to use the same one on the Wii or Wii U Virtual Console? But my guess is that it's most likely going to use the same emulator used on the Virtual Console. Now, if this thing sells very well, I hope to see a Famicom version down the road. Maybe exclusive, even if it's exclusively in Japan. I would love to if Japan got a Famicom version as well. And if Japan does get a Famicom version, I would love to see some exclusive for that. And hey, maybe in the future, maybe we might see a Super Nintendo version. Like, I would love to see a Super Nintendo re-release like this one. Maybe next year we'll get it. I would love to see a Super Nintendo version that has like F-Zero, Super Metroid. Fuck, even include the Super FX games like Star Fox, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Stunt Racer FX. I would love to see those as well. I mean, there's a laundry list of great Super Nintendo games. Of course, there's Super Mario World, Zelda: A Link to the Past, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, Contra 3, Super Castlevania 4, Mega Man X, Mega Man freaking X. They gotta include that. If there is a Super Nintendo version of this, they gotta include Mega Man X, because I want to see that happen. If you're a die-hard, hardcore retro gamer, you love authentic retro games with original cartridges, and you love playing on CRT TVs, you probably shouldn't pick this one up, unless you're like you're just buying it for collector's purposes or whatever. But if you're someone who is like casual, or who doesn't collect games, but who doesn't collect retro games, but still loves to play retro games. And also people who can't afford modern consoles like the Wii U, PS4, Xbox One. They're still over the $200 to $300 price tag. Then this thing is for you. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the NES Mini. I'm sorry if there hasn't been a review in a while. I'm working on the Ghostbusters the video game review, since it's Ghostbusters month essentially. And I'm gonna try to get the Kamen Rider Climax Heroes retrospective done, because that shit has been taking a very long time. And I've been having issues recording gameplay footage, and rendering and all that stuff. So it's kind of a nightmare. My goal is to have like a long video in 1080p 60 frames per second. So wish me luck on that. So yeah, that's all I gotta say for today. I'm Allie-RX, and I'll see you on the other side.